Chapter 17, Tailoring Your System. Alright, overview. Follow the example of the books you have used the major feature for the MS-DOS with the My System. Sometimes the MS-DOS offers more options than you need. These options go and give you flexibility via tailoring MS-DOS to let you adopt your computer yourself or adapt it yourself to your computer. This chapter has several ways can tailor the MS-DOS need with a preference of the only difference. Only does the tailoring of the MS-DOS fit your work's need better, but some of the techniques described here can be also make systems immediately useful for without having buying an application program. Some of the techniques can also make systems more accessible to people who need the computer but who don't have the experience with the MS-DOS. The tailoring can also make it easier to achieve the consistent with the perceived stuff of the making up the hard disk of the people who will use the computer. This chapter describes the following: how to find configuration commands, which are a powerful name of the configuration system, tell the MS-DOS you the hardware device that make up your system, how you use the memory maker of the program, which will help maximize the amount of the available conventional memory, how to run the MS-DOS device, drive the other programs upper memory, leaving conventional memory for application programs. However, to manage your portable computer with the two programs power, which can conserve battery life and interlinking transfer files quickly over serial cable between two computers. How to start your system without carrying out the commands of configuration system and auto-exec batch. How to set up your command configuration system auto-exec batch on one time, choosing whether or not to carry out each one. How to set up multiple configurations, choosing one when you start to restart the system. Some less frequently used MS-DOS commands examples include they are not step-by-step exercise. The chapter gives you some of the ideas of how to tailor MS-DOS, applying what you learned in previous chapters. Alright, defining your system configuration. Less other MS-DOS command with the MS-DOS. What to do with the configuration command with the MS-DOS. How to do something such as use the device with the communication with the disk drive with the commands. Help with the define with the computer. Some set up configuration so that the MS-DOS can work with your equipment. You do not type the configuration command with the keyboard. Other MS-DOS commands. Put the specific call for the configuration system, which must be a root directory MS-DOS. The MS-DOS here without the command of the configuration system, only with the restart of the system. So if you change the command in this file, start MS-DOS to take the certain. If you purchase application program accessory to the device that require certain commands configuration system, either with the installation programs that have the modify with the need with the command with the documentation provided step-by-step instruction. Many other times, however, the system configuration remains stable, so you don't change the configuration commands very often. But you soon, as you become more familiar with DOS, your computer, you might be able to experiment with commands configuration system as mean with the speeding up with the refining your way the system works. Version 5 later, MS-DOS itself will create the basic configuration system and its auto-executive batch. And if you modify with the existing version of each file that is part of the installation procedure, version 4 modify MS-DOS creates configuration system auto-executive batch and it does not already exist. If you do so, MS-DOS creates a version with the configuration 400 auto-executive batch. Auto-executive 400, which can later combine with the configuration system of the auto-executive batch files. Earlier version of MS-DOS did not automatically create either configuration system auto-executive batch. You create or edit configuration system with a text editor. You just create an edit batch file following the topics describe some of the configuration commands you might use on your own. Device command and device driver. The device configuration commands specify the program special types those who with attention use system. The system tells MS-DOS how to use a particular device, such as a program to develop device driver. The form of the device commands the device and equal file name. The file name is the name of that file that contains the device driver. You include the path file name. The file is not root directory of the mouse. For example, the program it tells the MS-DOS how to use the mouse system and the C mouse directory. Device command you put in the configuration system would be device equals command device equals C drive mouse system. Although the word device brings hard to mind, the device command needs only to refer to the piece of equipment can test the carry certain instances device actually program simulates hardware. For example, the MS-DOS includes a special program file enabled for the portion of the memory of your system, the memory where disk-based storage file RAM drive system enables the MS-DOS to use the memory as if it were an extremely fast disk. Instead of RAM drive system is described shortly first through the limited information about the computer's memory will help understand how and when to use the device drivers. Types of memory, how they differ. The computer use the memory, temporary storage for the calculation data, active programs for other works, and computer memory comes in three flavors: conventional, extended, and expanded. Conventional memory is the type of the system referred to as RAM, random access memory. Computers for the run MS-DOS usually come with 1 megabyte of conventional memory. The memory can use the whole MS-DOS application program data. All computer programs, conventional memory, IBM compatible computers running MS-DOS are limited to maximum 1 megabyte of the type of the memory. If the computer 1 megabyte conventional memory, however, not all freely available applications and data in MS-DOS. MS-DOS normally uses only 640 conventional memory applications and data. Remaining 384 conventional memory is known as the upper memory area. Reserved memory is set aside for the purpose of the hardware control and video memory. Reserved portion of memories are used for the memory management software and include units called upper memory blocks or UMBs, beginning with the version of MS-5 and MS-DOS can load the drive and the programs such as DOSKey and use the upper memory blocks, helping you to conserve as much possible of your computer's first 640 gigabytes of memory applications data. Alright, extended memory. Extended memory is additional memory that belongs to 1 megabyte with a boundary. Conventional memory adds and literally extends beyond the limit of conventional memory adds the megabytes and the word that extends the memory of the computer, but that does not necessarily mean you can use it. Extended memory can be used to storage only programs specifically designed to find and take advantage of it. If programs can use the extended memory, you might use the will and not have any. Extended memory is often managed with a program called Extended Memory Manager, which controls two applications trying the same portion of extended memory at the same time. Expanded memory. If you extend the memory, high memory of the program can reach the right of the tool. They think of the expanded memory as a separate reservoir for which the program can draw through a pipeline. Expanded memory can be handled with a program called the Expanded Memory Manager. Expanded Memory Manager should come with expanded memory installed with the system. Once your computer is set up with extended memory, expanded memory, or both, you really need to worry about what type you have or how it's used. Your job managing software to do all that, but you can use MS-DOS, especially version 5 or later, to take advantage of extended, expanded, reserved memory to take make your system run faster and more efficiently. If you don't have version 5 later, MS-DOS file with a few topics apply with your system. Skip the section called creating disk cache with a smart drive. If you have Microsoft version 4, skip the section called simulating disk drive with the memories and RAM drive system. If you have version 3, IBM versus MS-DOS. Alright, managing memory. Computer needs more than MS-DOS to manage conventional memory, but you extend with an expanded memory system. MS-DOS needs some of the extra help. Within version 5, they appear with the Form 2 devices of the 8 high memory system and an extended memory at 386 execute. High memory system, extended memory manager, extended memory installed in your system. MS-DOS version 5 or later installed MS-DOS file with the memory aids for the configuration system or open the device command. Name the device driver installed with extended memory. After installing MS-DOS, you can add your own device command with the configuration system. For example, high memory system with the CDOS memory directory. Command would be as follows: C drive, device, C drive, DOS, high memory system. Once you identify the high memory system, another expanded memory manager in configuration system turn some of the extended memory and fast access storage area. Simulated drive of the home of the MS-DOS itself. On a computer, the 8386 and the 8486 or a Pentium microprocessor can accomplish additional memory management of the extended memory. 386, the managing memory performs two tasks. If your system extended memory application requires extended memory execute can help MS-DOS treat some of the extended memory as if it were expanded memory. If your system unused portion of the upper area available, all necessary options are preset live with the hardware controlled video. Other special purposes, extended memory 386 can make the unused portion of the memory available to MS-DOS loading device and drivers. Alright, extended memory 386 include the number of parameters most of the needed only with the programmer. Three of these might use however they describe here, and assuming that EMM 386 is in CDOS directly with device command and three parameters look like device equals CDOS extended memory management 386 memory RAM no EMs. Alright, memory tells the MS-DOS how to extend the memory in kilobytes. Retrieve the expanded memory specified 16 to 32,768. If you don't include memory, MS-DOS assumes the available memory running down to the nearest multiple of 16 if necessary. When you're using parameters, MS-DOS set aside required amount. Set a memory for use of expanded memory. Also set up system upper memory or as part of it can be used in the expanded memory available to programs. The remainder can, and if requested, use the loading device and program both drivers and programs. RAM tells us MS-DOS uses the provided access both expanded upper memory. No EMs tells MS-DOS to set aside available upper memory loading device driver. The program and the parameter can use the expanded memory. Included either ROM or no EMS device command with the name EMM386 execute. Example: the basic device command of the configuration system would be device C drive DOS EMM386 execute. To create treat 6440 kilobytes would be 386 640 RAMs to set aside available reserve memory loading program device drivers. Command would be CDOS EM expanded memory 386 execute no EMS. Once you give the MS-DOS access to the upper memory, you can use the memory of the either loading high command, device high configuration command described in the section loading upper using upper and higher memory. Running MS-DOS in high memory, thus version MS-DOS version 4 MS-DOS loads in conventional memory, reducing the amount of the memory available to application data, the amount of space if needed at the beginning of the version 5. MS-DOS includes a simple configuration command named DOS that can help you conserve the conventional memory of the system, extended memory, upper memory, and both. If your system has at least 64 gigabytes extended memory, you can use the DOS command to tell MS-DOS to position itself in the portion extended memory of the high memory area. If your system has at least 350 gigabytes extended memory, typically 880,386 systems with 1 megabyte RAM, use DOS command to take part of all upper memory area available to use the device and program by moving MS-DOS device drivers, utility programs, Stosky, other memory resident software off where conventional memory use leave much as valuable storage space as possible for application data use. Alright, the DOS configuration command is DOS equals high, low, upper memory, and no upper memory. High tells MS-DOS to load itself in the high memory area. If it can, the high memory area approximately 640 gigabytes extended memory. Low MS-DOS loads itself with the conventional memory. If it does not specify that MS-DOS cannot load itself into high memory area, MS-DOS automatically move the conventional memory. UMB, short for upper memory blocks, tells MS-DOS to use the upper memory area of the device, the driver of the program. No upper memory blocks tells MS-DOS not to use the area. If you do specify upper memory blocks, MS-DOS does not use the upper memory area. You can put the command configuration system specify both parameters. One command is separated with a comma if you use the high parameter. However, they also include the device command with the name of the high memory system, so that you may be aware of the MS-DOS compile with the extended memory. If you use the upper memory block parameter, also include the device command with the name of AMM386 execute. Another manager makes up the upper memory area available to use. The following two examples show the different ways to use these command configuration systems. To MS-DOS include into the high memory area on system at least 644 gigabytes extended. You would include 3. These command configuration systems: C drive DOS, a high memory system DOS. Load MDOS on a high memory area provides access to all available area memory area. The 8386 and 8486 Pentium systems don't now less than 350 gigabytes extended memory. You would include the following commands configuration system: CDOS high memory system, high upper memory block, CDOS EM386 extends no EMS. Device command HMES system must proceed with the DOS command. Device command with the EMS 386 execute in MS-DOS 5.0. If you tell MS-DOS to load itself with extended memory, you can check its position with the memory command MS-DOS show the respond to the MS-DOS resident in the high memory area. And if the MS-DOS cannot find the high memory area to load itself with extended memory, do not have to worry, and would load conventional memory just as always. Alright, letting MS-DOS help you with the managing memory. Take full advantage of MS-DOS memory management features in version 5. The later proper configuration commands must replace configuration system. Specific device drivers should be loaded with a high memory device. High command memory resident program should be loaded with the upper memory load. High commands in auto execute batch. You can have these command yourself the experience of MS-DOS, but you can do it yourself. Second, version 6.0 MS-DOS itself offers some sort of help with the experience that the user would. Memory Maker and Program Enables the computer memories to others programs that use, then adds appropriate commands. Configuration system auto execute batch to be useful with the memory installed in your system. Showed Memory Maker earlier in Quest developed the perfect configuration as well as you later in Chapter version 6.0. Later, MS-DOS allows you to specify multiple configuration systems file. Memory Maker does not take multiple configurations into account when it performs memory optimization, so if you run it after breaking your configuration system file into multiple configurations, your work might be lost. Start Memory Maker, just type Memory Maker system prompt in a moment. The Memory Maker displays an opening screen which describes the process below, and then after you're pressing enter into the continued Memory Maker displays a screen that allows you to choose the between letting Memory Maker use the default setting, express setup, specifying setting yourself custom setup, pressing enter is express setup as default seating with a good job optimize your memory. There isn't much you to do from here on, and the instruction says you'll give them a few choices that are mostly limited to decisions such as choosing between continuing Memory Maker, returning MS-DOS command, deciding how best to manage your auto system memory, putting in required system configuration, system auto executive batch, Memory Maker restart your system. And twice at the second restart, the Memory Maker displays a summary of the action, lets you know how much memory is free for you. If your system wasn't up to memory management before, you should know. See, significant more conventional memory available is an unusable 610 gigabytes. Even more to be free, you might be able to free a bit more conventional memory fine-tuning of the commands, configuration, system auto executive batch. But by large, Memory Maker should do job well enough to by itself. Alright, creating a disk cache with Smart Drive. If your computer has a hard disk, either extended or expanded memory version 6.0 or later, MS-DOS can load Smart Drive, the auto executive batch, to turn part of this additional memory into rapid access storage, or also known as the disk cache. If you have version 4 or 5, you can use the disk command the device driver Smart Drive system configuration system to do the same thing as disk cache. Speeds up your system because the information in your computer reads the disk memory remains in the cache. It's much faster for your computer to read information that is already in memory, so if disk cascade substantially reduce the amount of time your computer spends going onto the disk. Find the information you need, reading it into the memory. If you're using the drive space, double space program, core compress your hard disk, do not only use Smart Drive to create the disk cache on compressed disk. It will actually slow down access to the disk. You should, however, use Smart Drive on your uncompressed hard drive or disk drive. To create disk cache, Smart Driver, add command in the following form: the auto executive batch, Smart Drive size, and minimum size. Program Smart Drive is not root directory of the current disk. Proceeds to the name of the drive in the path. For example, C.S Smart Drive size of which you want the cache to be in kilobytes or be any with a value from 128 to 8,192 or 8 megabytes. If you do not specify the site, Smart Drive sets the cache size depending on the amount of extended memory available. When the cache is created, the MS-DOS rounds so the nearest multiple 16. There is too little memory to create the size of the cache specified. Smart Drive is created the smaller one using all memory that is available. Min size is the small size of the cache with the given with the kilobytes. You need not have specified minimum size, but if you do not use the programs such as Microsoft Windows version 3 or later, program might be able to reduce size of your cache. Suits it on purposes. In some cases, the program might reduce the cache to size 0. Alright, in MS-DOS version 6.0 or later, the disk cache is always creating extended memory. Usually specify other version 4 and 5 can specify parameter A to create cache with expanded memory. Because the disk cache is created extended with the expanded memory, it must include the command configuration system. File identifies your extended expanded memory manager. If you have version 4 or 5, MS-DOS device command system Smart Drive system must appear after the memory manager command configuration system. Also, when you specify the size, leave enough memory for the other programs also run the extended expanded memory. If you're not certain of how much memory you also have available, use the mem command to ask MS-DOS to report the memory use. The Smart Drive has the parameter to further specify how the disk cache created and managed. See Appendix C, MS-DOS command reference detail. Following example, the greatest 1 megabyte of the disk cache, minimum size 256 kilobyte. With the example assumed with the Smart Drive executive of the C.DOS directory, C Drive Smart Drive 1024 256. Simulating disk drive and memory of the RAM drive system. I'm going to skip that one. Alright, using upper memory area, if you have the 83, 86, 84, 86 penny computer, chances are your system has more than 1 megabyte of memory. If you have version 5 or later, MS-DOS give the load high or device high commands to load programs, certain device tray drivers, upper memory blocks. Both commands help you conserve regular memory of the application data. Load high MS-DOS commands is the type of the configure batch file. Device high configuration command that you put in the configuration system. Because MS-DOS does not normally treat upper memory area as part of your computer's available memory, you can use the load high, device high commands only after loading the following: high memory system device driver, which enables MS-DOS to use the high memory DOS configuration command. You would tell the MS-DOS whether to use available upper memory blocks or extended memory management 386E. Execute device drive, similar device driver that makes the unused block of the upper memory area available. Alright, once you've used the DOS command high identified with the appropriate memory manager for the MS-DOS device configuration commands, use the load and hide device command to tell MS-DOS what the load and upper memory area to see if you have enough memory for a particular program or device driver comparable to the file size for the free upper memory reported with the memory command C drive. Following sample configuration system files show the devices commands you need to use the load hide devices. High files are assumed to be C-DOS directory. In this example, the DOS command also tells MS-DOS to run in high memory that don't EMS parameters. The device command is expanded memory 386 execute, indicates the system has no need for expanded memory. Alright, loading programs, load high. Load high command when used either from system prompt for the programs with loading regular with the upper memory for auto execute batch file. Load high will be abbreviated particularly well suited to the type of the program known as the terminate and stay resident. Such programs sit in memory, but they usually reside quietly in the background opposed to the word processors, other application programs that remain in control of the system as long as they are in active. MS-DOS include the number of terminal and stay residents among with the DOS key graphics and mode independent. To load a program and up to upper memory to form a load high command is load high file name parameters. File name is the name of the program you want to load, including the drive and the path. The necessary parameters represent the name of the parameters you type in the starting program. For example, after starting the configuration system file described earlier, you would load the DOS key in the upper memory with this command. Load high DOS key. MS-DOS would then attempt to load the program with the upper memory area. If there weren't enough room, MS-DOS would load the DOS key into conventional memory instead. Loading devices high. Device high command level that you would load a device drive with the stuff of the RAM drive system into the upper memory area. This converts as much of the computer's conventional memory as possible. The device drivers include MS-DOS that can be loaded into the upper memory area. AGA system, display system, drive space system, double space system, interlink system, ANSI system, RAM drive system, MS-DOS version prior to 6.0, also preferred as printer system. For experimenting, creating a startup floppy disk, use the S parameter of the format command, copy the configuration system auto executive batch file to, but then experiment with the difficulty with the device driver. You have alternate means of starting your computer so that you correct the situation. Version 6.0 or later, MS-DOS makes it possible to skip the loading configuration system auto executive batch, so there's no need to create the startup disk, so the starting without configuration system auto executive batch later in the chapter. You can also load the device driver and aren't part of the MS-DOS reserved memory. Some of the, however, the need of the memory with the expected they will be loaded may be caused the system or halt. It happens that may be able to fix the problem through use the minimize size parameter device high command specify the amount of memory for the driver's need. The form device high commands in version 6.0 later. Device high is equal to the parameter L region minimize size and parameter S file name region and minimum size. Let's you specify the upper memory you want to play from the drive with the minimum amount of the memory needed for the device driver. The region specify the region upper memory into which will they put in the device driver to list the region available to the upper memory. Use mem command of F parameter of the minimum size to tell the MS-DOS small amount of the memory into which the device driver will fit. If the device driver needs 2 or more regions of memory, separate the region numbers with the semicolons and the minimized size. Use first region specification of the semicolon follows the minimum size specification minimum size if you experience problem loading the device driver into the upper memory area. Perimeter S shrink the upper memory block to small sizes. MS-DOS loads on the device driver. The switch is normally used only with a memory maker and program file name. This name included extension of the device driver that you want to load. Include a path driver that's not a root direction of the disk. Want to start with the MS-DOS. You can also include the parameters when a device driver version 5 MS-DOS has slightly different form. Device high size, memory size, and file name. Size, memory size. The amount of memory given the hexadecimal value required by the device driver used the size of the experience program loading the device driver in the upper memory area. Although the value of the hexadecimal base 16 that you don't have to calculate yourself, you can use the memory command with a C parameter to list the size of the driver. The second column of the memory command reports the give the size of the device driver in the decimal. Third column gives the second in size in hexadecimal. Hexadecimal is new. You do not need to disconcern if you combination letter the numerals of 000480 0038E0, for example, are valid hexadecimal numbers. File name. This name including extension of the device driver you want to load. Include the path of the driver is not routed directly for the disk from which it starts with the MS-DOS. It should also include parameters that are required of the device driver. When you the device high, the MS-DOS attempts to load specific driver into the upper memory area. This is not enough room. MS-DOS load the driver into the conventional memory instead. Following sample configuration system files version 6.0 later, MS-DOS includes the command shown earlier as well. The device high command that loads RAM drive system into the upper memory area creates 640 gigabyte RAM disk and extended memory. Are controlling the display with the ANSI system. MS-DOS include the device driver. The ANSI system defines the standard methods of managing the display, including how to display the race character with the move of the cursor, select character colors. Programs include part of the MS-DOS mode command. Acquire your system disk to have configuration system that contains the command device with the CDOS ANI system. Assume the file within the CDOS directory. ANSI is an acronym for the American National Standard Institute. Configuration commands for a portable computer. Portable computers have special needs. Other configuration commands. Several configuration commands control internal operation character of your system. Usually deal with how to MS-DOS handle with the read disk on the application program device. Include detailed instructions for any change of these configuration commands. Configuration commands discussed in the reference or section described in more in Appendix C. MS-DOS command reference. Define temporary work areas. The buffer configuration command to define the number of the work areas in the memory. The buffer, the MS-DOS, you the read, the write of the disk, the effect of the configuration command. The system performance dependent on the type of the disk, of the type of the programs you use. The form of the buffer commands is the buffer equals number unless otherwise noted. The version of the MS-DOS 3.2, use the 3 or 4. 2 to 3 buffers depending on the size of the system and the amount of the memory it has. Use the version 3.3 MS-DOS if the number of the buffers primarily according to the amount of memory your system has. You can also have the course overriding the values, including changing the buffers configuration command with configuration system for optimum performance. Some of the programs required to set the buffers higher number for the MS-DOS assumes. Fastback, for example, the needs 40 for a list of values. MS-DOS, you can see the description of the buffer commands in Appendix C. Specifying maximum number of open files. File configuration command with the MS-DOS how many files can be used at one time unless otherwise instructed. MS-DOS can use the maximum of 8 files at a time. The form of the other files command in the file equals numbers. Numbers can be any numbers from 8 to 255. Setting of the highest drive letter. Last drive configuration command specify with the highest drive letter. MS-DOS recognizes valid configuration system does not contain the last drive command. Highest drive letter. MS-DOS recognizes E. This command usually specifies a higher letter up to Z. If the MS-DOS needs more than 5 drive letters, the MS-DOS might need more drive letters because the computer is part of the network, because of the use of the RAM disk, and because of a large hard disk is drive into section. Each of these will refer to a different drive letter of the form of last drive command. Last drive equals letter. Letter is any letter of the A to Z. Troubleshooting tailoring system startup. Alright, when your system behaves erratically, one or more programs won't run or more runs incorrectly, perhaps the device don't work properly. One of the most valuable troubleshooting techniques is to move the command of the configuration system auto executive batch until the problem goes away. Starting with version 6.0, MS-DOS takes much of the tendon out of the procedure, letting you start with the system without carrying out any of the command configuration in the auto executive batch, but letting you choose the command with the command with it to carry out the command configuration system auto executive batch. MS-DOS version 6.0 or later, you can structure the command configuration system in the MS-DOS display menu with the alternate configuration and lets you choose which combination configuration commands to carry out. Starting with the configuration system auto executive batch, if you install the new program device and your system stops working properly, if someone else uses your system, now it won't do what it's supposed to do. There's a chance that either the configuration command configuration system or command auto executive batch is causing the problem. If you're using version 6.0 or later, confirm the diagnosis by pressing Control Alt Delete to restart the system. MS-DOS display with starting MS-DOS pressing F5. MS-DOS skips both configuration system auto executive batch and system starts promptly, although it may behave differently from the way it usually does because you have it carrying out the normal configuration starting commands. Edit configuration system auto executive batch file to double check each of the check any commands you might have added. If you didn't any of the commands recently, you need a further investigation. The next topic tells you how to use another feature to pinpoint the problem. Choosing individual startup command. There's a problem with configuration system MS-DOS version 6.0 later. Auto executive batch MS-DOS version 6.2 or later. You can test the commands one at a time pressing F8. Most MS-DOS displays starting MS-DOS as startup. In response to MS-DOS displays each configuration command configuration system startup with the first and prompt you with the yes or no step through a file that way until you locate a offended configuration command, then either correct or remove it. When MS-DOS has completed with the configuration system, a prompt for the process of the executive yes or no. The MS-DOS version 6.2 later step up through each of the command executive batch. Just as you configure the configuration system, press yes. The version 6.0 executive batch will process, but you will not be able to step through it in one command at all. If you call or chain or both batch file with the auto executive the MS-DOS version 6.2 or later step through the commands one command at a time to give you complete control with your diagnostic processes. Are defining a menu configuration. Suppose you have the device you have rarely, for example, the color scanner who have the device drive with a very large cannot run high memory. You can also define one that runs better when the created RAM drive. Hold some temporary files created during the scan will achieve the memory of both because of the drive with the created RAM drive take up the memory that otherwise would be available for the other programs likely to load the device with the drive itself with the RAM drive only when you're going to use the scan version 6.0 later let you just do it by adding some of the command configuration system. Let's look at an example to start up the machine MS-DOS version 6.2 for the configuration system MS-DOS display with the screen title MS-DOS 6.2. Startup menu that lists two main items, non-scanner, scanner, and MS-DOS read with the different parts of your configuration system finally depending on its item you choose. Alright, first four commands set up upper memory management, specify the highest drive of the layer of the MS-DOS will recognize the configuration command are always carried out. The lines contained in the menu marks the beginning of the list of the menu choices. There are two choices of the configuration menu, no scanner. Each separate section of configuration system, each of these choices specify the configuration command, if any, are going to be carried out. Each of the choices made. First menu item section starts out with a line, no scanner. The section contains no configuration commands because you do not want to take any special action if you're not going to use the scanner. Second menu item section allows you to start the line. The scanner section contains two configuration commands carried out. If you choose the scanner from the startup menu, load a device drive with a color scanner system, create with a 1 megabyte RAM drive. Four configuration commands following the command are carried out regardless of what you choose from the startup menu. These commands complete the job to specify with the MS-DOS how to use your system, set up and how to manage its resources. By setting up a configuration system file this way, you don't have to give up the use of memory required to run the scanner. When you do use it, each time you start your system, you have a chance to tell MS-DOS how to configure your system, and you can use the technique handle any special configurations such as running a network or installing drivers for seldom using hardware. Okay, commands for occasional use. So far, this book has described all the commands routinely used. They operate the DOS, so a few remaining commands might occasionally need. There are several commands that will not be used unless the plan or the program or use some of the advanced capabilities of MS-DOS. Less commonly used commands are pre-described briefly here and more detailed dependency with the MS-DOS commands reference. Display MS-DOS version number, and that was VER. Changing system prompt would be prompt and then the string. Then you have date for time, P for current drive and directory, N for current drive, T for current time, V version, G for greater than sign, 1 for less than sign, B vertical bar, Q for equal sign, E for enter escape character, H for backspace, $sign for $sign, dash the signal end of the current line starting a new one. The character is an underscore, not a hyphen. Or you can include any combination of the $sign file with a character as you wish. MS-DOS ignores any combination of the dollar file by a character that is not in its preceding list. If you enter the prompt command with a parameter just as type prompt, MS-DOS restore the prompt of a layer of the current drive file with a greater than sign. For example, C prompt. Prompt command takes effect with it so easily experiment. You so have the chain of the system prompt the curious request. May I help you in chapter 3 getting your bearings, and you change it so it suits your needs in other chapters. The store system prompt in most common form the type of SP money PG money P money G For example, the following: notice how the system prompt changes with each time show the effect of the previous prompt command. Press the space bar before pressing enter key. Enter each of the command in order to leave space between the end of the system prompt and the beginning of the command of the next type. Next, find the system prompt as current drive of the directory of the C marketplace work break prompt, money drive C, P, and MXWP. For the example, zoom the current drive of the C of the directory marketing workspace. Define the system prompt with 2 lines show the date and the time. So we've marketed prompt with the date and the time. Time and the date will vary depending on how you set up your system prep. The enter key several times in the MS-DOS keep the time current. Final combining several options show you just how much you include with the prompt. Prompt commands let you easily tailor the system prompt with the balance information that you prefer. When you design system prompt like the auto executive bash, you never have to type it again. MS-DOS will carry out the command every time you start the system, speeding up the file access. Speeding up the files. Each time you use the application program and you with the MS-DOS might first need to search for the subdirectory contained in the file with the search directory entry for the file with itself on a hard disk with 100,000 files. All these searching can take some time. Fast open command tells the MS-DOS to keep track of the memory of the location subdirectory file that it uses. The next time they ask for the file with the subdirectory, MS-DOS checks the memory before it searches the disk. Finds the location for the file with the subdirectory memory. MS-DOS can directly do this instead of searching for it. If your application program tends the same file directories over and over, the fast open command with the MS-DOS visibly fast. The fast open command works only with hard asset opening. You should the fast opening if you're running Microsoft Windows. You should always avoid defragment programs such as defrag while fast opening is low. Fast opening has 3 parameters: faster opening, drive the files, and parameter X. Drive the drive letter file with a colon hard disk while whose file the subdirectories you want MS-DOS to track. For example, C drive files, number of the subdirectories whose location MS-DOS will keep the memory. Receive the equal sign. You specify the value of the files from 10 to the 999. Default value is 48. For example, if you had one hard disk drive C and you wanted MS-DOS to keep track of the last 75 files, subdirectories used, you would have the type fast open C drive equals 75. Parameter X tells MS-DOS to keep track of the location expanded memory. If the parameter X check is to be sure the expanded memory conform to the current standard of the LEIMES 4.0. If you're using MS-DOS for a hard disk installation program, might have to set up the fast open command telling MS-DOS to keep track of the last X file subdirectories you use. This command would have been placed in the configuration system file form like installation C-DOS fast open execute C equals 50. The command looks like a bit more complicated. Fast open C drive 50. Purpose of the same install part of the command described in appendix C of the MS-DOS command friend reference. Simply test the MS-DOS to use the computer for the memory efficiently if as it can. If you want to change the number of the files, you can change the command with the configuration system, for example, and keep the track of the last 70 files of the subdirectory chain with the command. Install C-DOS fast open executive C drive 75. Alright, treating a directory as if it were a drive. The substitute command lets you treat a directory as if it were a separate disk. Directory structure includes long path names of application program that accept the drive letter, but not a path name. You can use the substitute command to tell the MS-DOS to treat all future reference to a particular drive with the reference to the directory on the disk of the different drive. After naming a driver letter in substitute command, you can assign that driver letter in any other command you can want to use. The driver letter doesn't refer to an existing driver. In order to do this, you must tell MS-DOS to accept more driver letters than there are disk drives. You can use the last drive command configuration system file root directory for your MS-DOS system disk. Substitute command has 3 parameters: substitute drive path name and the parameter D drive letter followed by the column to be used to refer to the path name. Path name is the name of the directory referred by the drive. The D deletes any substitution that involve the drive that include the parameter D. You cannot include the path name. If you omit all parameters, type is only substitute. MS-DOS displays a list of any substitutes in effect. For example, suppose you find yourself frequently referring to a directory whose path name is C spread sales forecast. You would look at a short synonym substitute X for the path name that you would make a certain drive with the configuration system files containing the last drive specified letter X, Y, and Z. Then you would type substitute X C drive spread sales forecast. Substitution will remain in effect until you have restarted MS-DOS. Cancel substitution, typing substitute X and parameter D. In Part 3, Appendixes And that completes the book as far as running MS-DOS version 6.22 20th Anniversary Edition Van Wolverton, published by Microsoft Press Division, Microsoft Corporation, 1 Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington 98052, copyrighted 2003. This is the latest version I could get.